toy that you can possibly give your baby, the one and only thing that you actually need above all else. We're going to talk today about the best toys for your baby's development. I'm also going to share with you 2 toys that are actually dangerous for your baby's development, or certainly can be, so wait till the end of the video if you want to hear more about those. The first category is musical toys or musical instruments. Now when I say that, you may think of a toy with lots of buttons that makes lights and sounds, but that's not what I'm going to focus on. The things that I think are excellent for your baby's development, and I've got some of them here, are things like shakers. These are particularly good because your baby can actually hold them in their hands. So this one's really good for your baby to hold in their little hand. And this one as well for slightly older babies. They also do actually, talking about teething, love to chew on them. So just make sure when you're looking online for shakers like this that you look for ones with the CE mark to show that the paint and everything on them is food grade, so that babies can put them in their mouths safely. So these are fantastic because they build strength in little hands. They're good for developing language because babies are learning about rhythm and beat, which is one of the foundational skills in language development. They're really good for playing with together. Babies like to shake them. They can tap them and bang them. Even before they reach that stage, you can do that with them. You can shake it in front of their face as well so that they can track the movement. There are loads of different things you can do with musical instruments. And if you want to find out more, then make sure you check out my baby sensory classes where we use instruments throughout the whole class in different ways. Another instrument that I would recommend is a drum of some kind. This is actually a very old drum. I can't off the top of my head work out how old, but it was my mum's Morris dancing drum when she was a child. So it's super old, but all my children have really enjoyed playing with it. It's really good for flat hand development, so babies can tap on it with the flat of their hand. Now you may think that I'm going to say no plastic toys, and that's not true because the next 2 toys that I have to show you are made of plastic. Plastic definitely isn't the devil that it's made out to be with toys. For little ones, it's really easy to clean. And you know what? Sometimes those plastic toys are the ones that our babies love. So while I'm all for wooden and sustainable toys, let's be realistic and talk about things that babies actually really love to play with and things that, let's be honest, most of us have in our house. So this is my next recommendation. This is a toy that's as garish as they come, but it is something that all 3 of my babies have absolutely loved. So Clara is my 3rd and she's currently 8 months old, and this is her favourite toy. Has been for about the last month, I would say. That kind of 7 months plus mark is really where this toy comes into its own. And it's one of those ones, if you excuse the noise, where you press different buttons and the animals pop up and then they can fold them down again. So it brings about lots of different skills. Obviously the fine motor skills with them being able to use their hands to turn these different knobs. I quite like this one because it's got a progression of skills. This one is really easy for babies to start off with, and then these ones are quite difficult, so you can do it with them and then they can fold down the animals themselves. This also is great at that kind of 7, 8, 9 month mark because babies often will develop separation anxiety around that time, and that's to do with the idea that they have finally realised that you are a separate being to them, and when you leave a room you might not come back. So to help them with that separation anxiety, we need to reassure them that yes, we absolutely will come back, and even though you can't see us for a moment, we're still there and we're coming back for you. So toys like this, where they can hide the animals and then find them again, helps them to develop that skill and understanding of, although we can't see something for a second, it's still there and it can come back to us. And the next toy is also perfect for that. So, as promised, more plastic gloriousness. This is a set of stacking cups. You can get them in all different styles and varieties. I will link this one along with all of the things that I've recommended down below, as well as my Amazon storefront where I've linked just some of my favourite developmental baby products. So this one's good because babies can stack, so they can build towers and knock them down again, which babies absolutely love to do. Really great for their cognitive and physical development. I like this one because it also comes apart and it makes little balls. So they can roll the balls around as well, which is a fantastic skill, especially once they start to reach and to develop those pre-crawling and crawling skills. It's good for them to be able to crawl after the balls. The other good thing about stacking cups is that you can hide things underneath them. So if you get a little toy or an object and you hide it underneath, then that also helps the baby to understand the fact that although you can't see something, oh, it is still there. So the same skills as the pop-up toy. Really great for babies of all age to develop that skill, but particularly around that 7-8 month mark when they may start to develop that separation anxiety. This next toy is a winner and something that I regularly use in my baby classes, and if you go to baby classes out and about, then I'm sure that you've come into contact with these. It is called a sensory scarf, and you can get them very inexpensively online. The only caveat being that you have to normally bulk buy a set. So if you're an antenatal group or something and then you've got some friends that also have babies, it's quite a good thing to buy together, and then you can just split them up and then they work out really, really cheaply. Alternatively, you can make fantastic creations with lots of the scarves together. And I do have some videos about ideas using sensory scarves for play. They're great because, again, babies can hide. Do you see a theme here? So babies can hide and develop that idea that although they can't quite see something, it's still there. It's great for them to do peekaboo with as well. But for younger babies, it's really great for object tracking. So you can float the scarf above their eyes and they can track the movements. So it's helping with that eye development. It's also helping with that idea of reaching and grabbing for something. As babies get a little bit bigger, their arms will start to reach up and touch the scarf. Eventually they'll be able to reach out and grab the scarf and even pull it off your head if you have it over your head. They're also really good for tickling, so they bring about that sensory textural development, the feeling of things on baby's skin. Bonus toy now, the best toy that you can possibly give your baby for developmental purposes, the one and only thing that you actually need above all else is you. You are your baby's best developmental toy. Now, that might sound a little bit cheesy, but actually, you interacting with your baby by talking, singing, reading little stories to them, doing bouncing on your knee, other kind of physical play, that is the very best developmental start that you can give your baby, and no amount of toys can replace that connection between the two of you. Okay, let's talk about those toys that can be dangerous for your baby's development. I'm going to start with the one toy that I would say is the most dangerous toy that you can buy in terms of development for your baby, and you may well have one in your own home. The toy that I'm talking about is a baby walker. One that looks like this, as opposed to one that looks like this. Now, they both are pretty rubbish in terms of development, and I will tell you why. For the main reason, they're not very safe for walking with. Now, actually, they don't teach your baby to walk, even though they're called walkers. Your baby needs to learn to walk by developing their core strength and their sense of balance and stability, all of which are thrown off kilter when they use a walker because they are leaning forwards and having the support from something else. And that means that even if they can walk well with a walker, take it away and they haven't necessarily built up the core strength they need to walk upright. There are many babies that have learned to walk and used walkers at the same time, of course. But if you want the best for your baby, it is a good idea not to use a walker on a regular basis with them. The very last thing that I would say you need to try to avoid, if you can, is only having toys that make sounds or have lots of buttons. I'm not going to say no toys with buttons, because lots of people do say that, and it's just not realistic, is it? And like I mentioned before, some of those toys are the things that our babies like the best. Toys with buttons that make noise are absolutely fine, but they do take away the creative element of play because they don't let our babies and young children use their imaginations to think about how to move things, to make them make sound, or to use them in different ways. they're quite simple and often they can only be used for one purpose, whereas open-ended toys like our handy stackers here can be used in lots and lots of different ways. Watch this video here or this one here for more toy ideas for your little one. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to like it if you did and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I will see you next time, guys. Bye.